Last week I released part 1 of this video which showcased Riot wrongfully banning me for intentionally feeding. At the time, I was playing a lot of Smite Teleport Scion support, extremely off meta, and I believe that's what I was banned for. Riot support staff seemed pretty hesitant to admit that was actually the case, and instead of just reviewing the game and seeing I wasn't intentionally feeding, they simply changed the game ID from a Smite Teleport Scion game into a regular game of Scion. In part 1, we reviewed the game that they accused me of intentionally feeding in, which did a pretty solid job of discrediting Riot support staff's claims. And now we're going to review the game that I believe was the actual reason for the ban. This is the game ID that was given to me by the client upon logging in, and of course, it should come as no shock to you that the game is indeed a Smite Teleport Scion support game. This game starts off just like every other, with us invading, looking to get priority of vision. Important we figure out where the enemy jungle is starting so that you can pivot around the map. That's how you're going to get an advantage here. You're not going to go in blind and pray you know what's happening. Even though we invaded, no action occurs. We just place wards and the team leaves the jungle. I decided to stick around anyway, just to harass the enemy jungler and try get an edge. Getting small edges in League of Legends is what it's all about. That's how you win. And that's why you should be using the sponsor of today's video, Professor, to get those edges yourself. Seriously though, you should really install it. Keep track of all of your enemy summoner spells. Use that to get free kills. You can also track all the jungle timers. It is seriously something you should have installed. There are still 4 days left in the season. There's no reason you can't make it to the next rank. I highly suggest you download it via the link in my description. And yeah, that's all. Due to the way things worked out and the timing, the wave is about to crash. So if I cross through it, it's going to be so obvious what I'm doing. I decide to stay and attempt to cheekily steal away the raptors. Unfortunately, they do spot me and contest me, and I'm now in a position where I need to take these raptors. If I die and suicide for them, I'm going to get level 2. Plus, I can stall and try and annoy the Echo. Once again, it does backfire because the Draven and Nami, instead of going to bot lane, they just rotate and kill me at the raid. It's not the end of the world though, because we do end up getting level 2 as you can see. But yeah, obviously Draven getting first blood, not ideal. It's going to be up to you to decide whether it was worth or not in the following few minutes. There are pros and cons to each. Obviously, they're going to be late to lane. It gives our solo laner some time to farm. It also means that we still took the camp from the Echo, and now that I'm level 2, I can easily go and contest him on the other side of the map, which is what I do, as you'll see. I think though, in hindsight, if I knew I was going to die to Draven and give first blood over, I probably would have just crossed over and gone and fought at the other side of the map. It's just less risky. We managed to push Echo off the blue, and on our exit you can see that Yone left his lane to kill us, which is perfectly fine. But at this point it does look kind of inty, right? That's if you don't take into account what we've just accomplished. Echo is level 2 with 1 camp. He is not healthy enough to go and kill the blue. It's likely he's either going to have to go back or just try and get a different camp, because it's not going to work if he goes for the blue. And that's what he ends up doing. He attempts to go back and then he decides to go for the wolves. Echo using smite there is a big deal. Keep note of that. But if we focus in on these levels, look at what Hecarim has done. Hecarim hasn't stopped farming this entire time, while Echo's been dealing with me, constantly abusing him at his jungle camps. And that's the goal here, right? So even though it does look inty, it's just important to understand that the gold is being distributed differently in each team. It's pretty easy to see that Echo has no freaking idea what to do. He's pathed over to the raptors, realizes I took them, paths back, but he has no smite, so he can't actually start the blue. He goes for the Gromp. He knows that my Q damage is more, so he has to get off it again. And then yeah, you can just see a lot of things happening. And for junglers who are just used to the same old routine, the same pathing, this really mixes things up and it's hard for them to understand what's going on. I'm not sure if you noticed, but in the top lane, Akali got soloed by the Mordekaiser. This is kind of a trend throughout this game. Both their top laner and their mid laner both have pressure even after roaming. They are able to rotate and save their jungler on multiple occasions. Maybe this is an indicator that I shouldn't be invading on these type of matchups, but that's a discussion for another time. There's a bit of a break here before anything interesting happens, so let's go over what happened in the last video and how Riot responded to it. The cliffhanger last video ended on Riot telling me that there is nothing they could do to help me. I'm stuck with the 2-week ban. Immediately after this, I responded with a message expressing my relief that they confirmed that it was not a Smite Teleport Scion game. And the main relief of this is that it means it probably won't happen again. They've confirmed that I can play off meta, so all my other strategies aren't going to affect this. Despite me dying twice, we have successfully pulled Mordekaiser out of lane once. We pulled Yone out of lane 3 times, and you can see the consequence of that in the scoreboard. Take a look at the difference in CS between the junglers, the top laners, and the mid laners. If you look at the mid laner, it should be significantly more, by the way. I don't know how Yone left lane so many times, and the Zillion is behind in farm. Who bloody knows? This upcoming play is what I believe was the tipping point. Before this, I think our team was ahead, and right here is a good outplay by them, to be honest, because I'd probably go for it again. I clearly severely underestimated Zillion's damage. Plus, it was a good roam by Konami. Things kept unraveling after that point. It was pretty much a snowball. I went straight to bot lane to try and help the Ezreal. I may have potentially baited him. I'm not sure. He probably could have jumped that wall a lot quicker. It really doesn't matter at this point. Like, Draven's picked up so many free kills, including the first blood that I gave him. Echo now gets a free kill as well, so all the damage we did to him by farm and whatnot has gone to waste because he's just caught up in experience. Expect the enemy ADC to be ahead, but we're trying to, like, get our other members even further ahead to be able to shut him down. But when Echo catches back up and we have no strength anymore, I mean, who's going to carry this game? We still have a strong Hecarim, but our top lane is losing, mid is losing, ADC is losing, support's losing. So yeah, this game is pretty much a done deal at this point. I've just put up on the screen the official apology from Riot. I went through the LPP messaging everyone until someone manually reviewed the case. This is the outcome. You can pause and read through the whole thing yourself, but I'm going to read out the main snippet of it. He goes on to say, "So I do see the suspension is because you got flagged for a bit of inting/griefing. I looked into things though, and I'd like to first apologize. While we do want to try and catch players who take deliberate actions to degrade the game experience for others, we also want to try and make sure we don't penalize players who are actually trying to win via the use of new or off-meta tactics. Because of the situation, I've already gone ahead and lifted the suspension from the account for you, so you're more than set to get back to the Rift. So please in the future, try to make sure your team is aware that you're going to be trying a new strategy, but also keep in mind how the game is going, and if things aren't looking like they're going well, then do your best to pivot, and if necessary, fall back into a more traditional playstyle. I'm again sorry you had to go through this and reach out to us about it, but I'm glad to be able to help you out and get things sorted for you. If you have any additional questions for me, let me know. Otherwise, I hope you have a great rest of your day." This is easily the most genuine response I've seen from any Riot stuff, and it's very clear it wasn't automated. This is a manual review, and he pretty much covers exactly what you would expect. I don't think he's implying that I don't tell my team members what I'm doing, because I definitely do. I just think that it's a overall good message to let other people know what they're going to expect. And like he said, if it doesn't go well, you definitely should pivot back into a standard form of gameplay, which we do. Like, you see me selling the items all the time. In some situations, it doesn't work out. Like, it's just not possible. At least the majority of the times, you should be able to pivot back to a stock standard version of a support Scion. I'm not going to really go into the rest of this game. I don't think it's relevant. But what I do want to talk about is the fact that in the part 1 of this video, we went over that Riot acknowledged that I was getting griefed by players, and it was clear that we had like toxicity, feeding, and intentionally trolling in that game, yet the only one who got banned was me. Well, I went and reported both of the players who I deemed troublesome, which was the toxic Zed and then the intentionally griefing Yuumi, and I am sad to announce that neither of them got punished. I can't confirm that Zed didn't get chat restricted, and I know for a fact the Smite Yuumi ADC did not get punished. He continued to play every day. The only small bit of justice we got is that the Zed hard fell from Master all the way to Diamond 4. There is another little twist, and this is going to make you guys question this whole situation once again. The Smite Yuumi ADC that I reported who didn't get banned is also in the pro scene. He is a coach for one of the OCE pro teams, so he represents Direwolves as a team. I don't know how their contracts work, but I'm almost certain he's meant to be professional on Summer's Rift. Yet here he is, intentionally griefing over nothing, when you would think a coach out of all people would be one of the people who want to see interesting strategies and absorb that. I don't know, that's just my opinion. Anyway, shortly after this mess was all sorted out and I got unbanned, I ended up playing with him once again. He was ADC, I was support. He ended up picking Swain and was immediately negative as soon as the game started. He didn't even give it a chance once again. And it's pretty much the exact same mentality as the Smite Yuumi game, where he just thinks it's over, so he's gonna fool around and muck about. Personally, I think in this example, he was soft inting. I revealed the Kha'Zix, I pinged that he was incoming, I even typed it. He chooses to ignore them all. Of course he dies, and in his mind, I'm sure he's blaming it the fact that I'm playing Smite Teleport Scion, but let's be real, that's obviously not the case. I end up calling him out on it, and he drops the old smiley face. This is clearly Similar behavior to the Smite Yumi game, I think. And as someone who's representing the pro scene, I just don't think it's okay. We ended up carrying him and winning the game with the shitty Smite teleport Scion support. Who would have known that it was possible to win? It's crazy. I recorded the whole game, so if you're interested in watching that, make sure to let me know in the comments below. That is all we have for today though. Make sure to subscribe, like, and I'll see you guys in the next video.
Y'all ain't on this level, bitches, Tilterella.